Raven, and as promised, I am bringing you today. We're actually going to be covering healer. Now, to most players, this is not even considered viable, but once again, thanks to the devs, they do make it completely possible. So today we've actually made a couple of changes since the one Tamriel update. As I showed in the Dragon Knight Healer build, a lot of the sets now drop Injury, and up to the Shadow of the Hiss, when they actually updated a lot of sets, we actually were also able to obtain Necropotence in 160 gear. So it's kind of really good to see this up front. So basically what we did with the Sorcerer Healer, and first off, let me open the character sheet here. Okay, for some reason sometimes this bugs up for some reason, but let me switch to the back bar. Sometimes that fixes it, or not. Oh, my food buff wore off, that's why. My bad. Okay. Now let me open up the character sheet. So we're sitting almost at 48,000 max magicka. Our maximum health is 19,737, and our spell damage without our builder is 2236, and our spell crit is 47%. Now with the Sorcerer Healer, the Sorcerer has the lowest crit percentage in passives. You will actually have to slot abilities. You can use like Inner Light and things like that to, and from the Mage tree to try to help you, or use pots. But what we actually opted to do was run the crit up close to 50. So when we do crit, it'll give us a higher chance to crit, and that'll affect our healing. So add that with pots, or other buffs that are being applied, we'll hit that 50% mark, and even though it's 30%, it will be, it'll help us. Now, the main thing I really wanted to point out here is what we did with the gear change. Now, obviously, we run with Spell Power Cure, and we're running Necropotence. The reason we're running Necropotence, it's giving us more magicka. So it stacks all this magicka because we're using the Twilight Matriarch. The Twilight Matriarch is one of the main heal abilities for the Sorcerer Healer. So it only makes sense to use Necropotence. It's going to give us all this max magicka. It's going to increase our healing. And even though we have a lower regen, we have a larger pool to gain from. Now, you'll have to weave, but I'm going to show you in some of the abilities how we're going to recap some of that magicka. Okay, so obviously we do have the Necropotence and Divine's shoes. I keep having problems trying to find infused pieces of Spell Power Cure. So with this, we're running Spell Power Cure legs and Divine at the moment. Ideally, I want that infused. Gloves of Necropotence, Divine. Spell Power Cure sash, Divine. Mulakina shoulders. The major reason that I do this is for that extra spell damage. Now, you can go ahead and put on a max magicka shoulder piece, but keep in mind that it's a 10-to-1 ratio, and the Mulakina, since we have a plethora of magicka, it made sense to do this for the 129 spell damage because it's a 10-to-1. Even if you get 900 and whatever, you're actually going to get a little bit more from the Mulakina shoulder. Now, we're not running 6% with the Undaunted, but that's fine because we still have the numbers that we're needing with the magicka and the health, because we're slightly under 20k. Well, the one main reason we do this is because we take our smaller pieces and we glyph those with the health. So we put the health on the feet. We put the we left the hands magicka, belt magicka, but shoulders also have the health, and the pet will actually throw us up with the health buff as well. But I'll definitely get into this. Robe of Necropotence is infused, and my head of Necropotence is infused. Now, because we are running 2 drop sets, we had to obtain the staffs, the restoration staffs of Necropotence. These do not drop in Nirnholm, so we want the powered. So we're getting, the best healing capability next to Nirnholm. So we went with powered restoration staffs of Necropotence, and I got 2, both on each back bar. You can't efficiently throw out the dual wield with this because you have one piece that's kind of off, and if you go ahead and try to do it on the dual wield. The problem with the Sorcerer Healer, it doesn't have a lot of healing capabilities in its class. It's very dependent on Restoration Staff heals. The Twilight Matriarch is a great heal, but it's not enough to sustain your party because it doesn't offer enough HOTS to lay down. So this is very important in this build, that you're going to have to typically run dual resto. Now, if you wanted to and you wanted to go resto destro, you can do that and use a back bar more for like a DPS. So that is an option. Also, there's a lot of options as far as the gear with the Sorcerer Healer. Just like most healers, you can take out Necropotence, you can put Worm on, you can go with Mending, you can go with the Remedy. There's so many different options, but most people are not going to let a Sorcerer Healer be the primary healer because it lacks utility. But one of the major things that the Sorcerer Healer brings, if you're being a second or a third healer in the party, it offers a lot of crowd control options. So when we take a look at our skills, and I'll show you the rotation of what we're going with on the primary bar, I use Healing Ward. I use this on every healer. It's just an oh shit button. Saves any of my party members that are close to death, so we don't have to revive them. The reason being, because depending on the severity of their wounds, it increases the ward strength by 300%, and it also applies a heal. Healing Springs, once again, when we're all closed up, it definitely is going to help retain some of the magicka, so I'm going to get that regen back, and it's going to offer a hot. Empowering Ward, you're definitely going to need this with the Sorcerer Healer because you're running the Twilight Matriarch. If the Twilight Matriarch drops, that's a healing that you don't have, and it takes a 1 second to cast. It's definitely not something that is going to be accessible if you don't have it out. So the Empowering Ward is not to really keep you alive, it's to keep the Twilight Matriarch alive. Also, what the Empowering Ward is going to go ahead and do for us is it gives us minor intellect to us and our party members, increasing our magical recovery by 10%. Add that with the Healing Springs, and now we have a little bit more sustainability with our regen. Okay, of course we're using Bound Ages. The reason being, it's going to give us 8% towards the max magicka. Now, if you wanted to get a little bit more like show off, and you want to put Mage Light, Inner Light on here, stack an extra 5%, you can do that. Problem of it is, you're going to lose another healing ability. To me, it's just not worth it because I like to rotate my HOTS. For the ultimate, we have the Absorption Field. Absorption Field is great because it offers an AoE heal, and it also silences any enemies within its vicinity. On the back bar, we use Combat Prayer. Once again, I typically use this on all my healing builds. It buffs my party and also gives them resistance towards their physical and spell. Mutagen. I typically don't run Mutagen on a lot of my healers because they have other heals. But with the Sorcerer, it makes sense because it gives us another hot, and it also gives a cleanse to the party. Power Surge. Power Surge is definitely going to increase our healing capability. So when we use this builder and we throw on this buff, it's going to go ahead and increase our healing capabilities. Of course, we have the Twilight on this bar as well in Bound Ages because we don't want these two to drop. And of course, we're going to run the Warhorn on the back bar. Now, you can supplement this with another healing effect from Restoration, or you can use the Atronach sometimes. I like to do that. It gives another DPS effect. If I want to throw any other DPS effects, actually, I usually will opt for Shattering Prison to replace Mutagen. The reason being because we can use Exploitation. Activating a dark magic ability grants minor prophecy to a nearby ally, increasing spell critical. That also affects you as well, and that's really, really important for when you're running large groups. Say if you're a third-party healer in a vet trial, not to say that you will be with the Sorcerer Healer, but if you are, it's definitely going to help. Of course, if you have other sorcerers that are using dark magic, that still applies. So I don't typically run trials with this healer. I will be honest, I just keep this healer straight to vets, and it works out great. So, there's no complaints, but most people are just not going to go ahead and let sorcerer healers run too many trials. Not to say it can't be done, it's frowned upon. It's an underestimated healer, but that's okay. Okay, another thing, like I said, you can go with dual wield try to go dual wield on the back bar, but like I said, you probably need a crafted set, and you can do that. So say if you don't want to use Necropotence and you want to do Seducers, you can craft it and get a higher regen. those are options for you. So I'm never going to go ahead and say that one's better than the other. But when we take a look at the skills and we take a look at Matriarch, this little pet of mine is healing for 11,800. Yeah, that's pretty good, you know, and that heals 2 other friendly targets. So it definitely is a nice, huge heal. Okay, so I don't know what the daily is today. So I'm actually going to take a look and see what we got going on, and, you know, I'll do a vet daily. Like I said, I don't know which one is, and that's if I can sustain a party. The major thing about Sorcerer Healer, when anytime a Sorcerer queues as a healer, some people just like hit the panic button, and they will go ahead and vote kick you right away. I encourage anybody trying the Sorcerer Healer, don't get discouraged. You know, do not allow that to affect, you know, you attempting to show people the viability of the Sorcerer Healer. Like I said, the devs definitely make everything possible, and I'm pretty happy with that. That's not too bad, and we'll see this one.
You look way while you're returning.
That one's not too bad either. Now, typically a lot of people like to run that bubble build and keep under like 16k health. I would never, ever make such a recommendation. You know, I like to stay around 20k, so if one of the mechanics hit you, you definitely have the survivability. And the Empowering Ward, in my opinion, is just icing on a cake. Okay, so we got Wayward Sewers 2 and Arx Corinium. Which one did we get? Arx Corinium.
Tem mais vantagens, doutores. Invasão de privacidade, da onde te uso, 1430. Não, tá aqui, ó. Tá, é só passa essa sessão, não tem outro não. E você logo em seguida nós pega o Shaolin do Sertão. Eu vou. É filho de Nordeste, ou é nordestino ou no Nordeste? Tá o cara na pose do Shaolin lá, ó, do Ralph Macchio aqui, ele. Isso aqui vai ser.
Wow, okay. So, you know, it's all good. It's all good. Now, obviously they're still loading in. Once again, when you see the white on the hands, that's just the indication of spell power cure. This is definitely going to help our party, you know, get some DPS going on. And once again, guys, I do like to do these things live. I do streams. I do not do pre-records and then uploads. Because if something goes bad, you know, somebody can actually say, you know, just be like, well, I'm not going to post that. I'm not going to YouTube that. Now, I do actually have, you know, a couple of different ways that I can do streams. But I prefer the YouTube streams. Just, you know, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show off a build. We're going to go ahead and do this. And whether or not they decide to keep me becomes the question. I'm trying to, like, show off the heals just to show that I have them. Okay. Okay, I'm definitely want to keep that builder up as much as possible along with the shield. Like I said, if that Twilight drops, that's another reason why you'll see me cast Empowering Ward as frequently as I do, because sometimes that Twilight will just pull some aggro. And I know I shouldn't be activating. These should be for, you know, your Stam characters, but definitely the synergies will recap, you know, your magicka pool. I don't know what's going on with the tank. I mean, we can clear track. Oh, there he is. Maybe it's the other DPS. Yeah, I always hit the twilight every once in a while just to make sure it's still out. Since it's behind me, I can't see. I wish there was like a little buff indicators up in the corner of the screen just to kind of indicate, you know, what you got going on, if it was right up there in the right corner, and to let you know that, oh, okay, you know, my pet's still alive. That would be really nice. So, Dabs, if you're watching this, you know, maybe try to put little indicators up there on the right corner by the quest. That would be great. Hopefully they know to stay out of the circle and, okay, I'm gonna let his drop before I grab up mine. Okay, no blow it again. Okay. I don't know where this other dude is. Yeah, come around the corner. A lot of mobs. I'm gonna probably switch out for my Shattering Prison after this. Okay. And I'll replace Shattering Prison right here. Now you can also put like Liquid Lightning. So let's say, you know, you wanted to put out a little bit more DPS, AoE effect. You can go ahead and put, I have Lightning Flood, but you can use like another AoE, single target. The nice thing about Sorcerer Healers, they're very flexible. You know, you can still get the job done, put in one or two sorcery abilities, put out a little extra DPS, or if you're needing the extra heal or hot. So it's really nice, a lot of flexibility. Hey, don't come my way. Yeah, you know, it's really awesome how the devs have progressed a lot of the classes. I think the sorcerer could use more utilities. You know, if we're going to be talking about endgame for the sorcerer healer build, it definitely could use more utilities. You could put, you know, slot in neurotic orb to go ahead and get a utility there for magicka, and where the monster set, like I did with the definitely the sorry, DK healer. But one of the main things to me is I think, you know, the sorcerer needs a little bit more to define its healing role. You know, you only have like one class effect that heals. And to me, that's the one downside to the sorcerer healer. The matriarch is awesome, devs. So the Twilight matriarch is definitely a huge plus for the sorcerer healer. But I think the sorcerer healer needs maybe one other class ability that complements its build and could give it a little bit more viability in endgame content. Now, it's kind of funny because, once again, when people want to talk about, you know, sorcerer healers being viable, and they're like, oh, you know, they're not healers. And I'm like, once again, I completely disagree. The devs really do a great job of just making every class capable of playing any role. And my guild tank, he's a sorcerer tank. You know, our main tank is a sorcerer tank. It's not a DK. And he does awesome. I don't know why he's going this way. He's got to go through this door first. Once again, I'm always going to hit that matriarch button just to be on the safe side here. Sometimes this can be a pain for a healer, because if they do not get in that little bubble with that little snake, things can turn ugly. Now, the bad thing about it is if you're going to slot Shattering Prison, the bosses are always going to be immune to it. So heads up. Always stay by this little snake. And see, my Twilight's just take. As long as I keep the shield on him, he's able to withstand that cry that the songstress does. All right. Yep. They hit the switch. Yes. Like I said, I like the necropotence on the Sorcerer Healer. Like, I had Twilight Matriarch out. It just makes sense to use the set. It really increases my healing capabilities. And if I want to switch out, let's say I want to go with a power overload, for a burn effect, I can do that. Okay, we're gonna go ahead with the Warhorn. Uh-oh. There we go. We got recovery going on. Once again, 20k life, people. It will save your ass. If anybody tells you, oh, you don't need that much health, hey, take your risks. You can only cheat the game for so long, man. It will catch up with you sooner or later. Like I said, there's not too many. There's no vet you can't do with the Sorcerer Healer. Okay, that's pretty much a fact. I have yet to try this character in a trial, just because most people aren't going to allow it to happen. I could go ahead, I could put the utilities on, just like I do with the DK. It's just, once again, I think the devs just need to give the Sorcerer Healer maybe one other class-based effect to make it a little bit more viable, to Endgame. If they can do that, then we're talking potentially a whole different story. I know that seems a little, crazy. I'm not saying it can't be done, people. Don't get me wrong. I think the devs make anything capable in this game. Problem of it is, you're dealing with players who are kind of set in their ways. When I first started with the Dragonite Healer, a lot of people had problems with it, even though PC players already were using Dragonite Healers in some trial parties. On this platform, they still have problems with it. And even months ago, man, when I was posting on the Stam Nightblade, like, everybody was laughing that I was a Stam Nightblade. And now you look at, like, every trial group, and there's like 1 or 2 Stam Nightblades. And to me, that's kind of funny, when you think about it. Because it's now the flavor of the month. And of course, I didn't come up with the Stam Nightblade. Stam Nightblade's been being used, for a long time by PC players. It's just console players, typically have a, they're slow to catch up. Once again, I think a lot of them watch YouTube and they don't read forums. And to me, forums is definitely a lot more resourceful than any YouTuber. Even me included. I make mistakes. I'm human. We're all human. We all make mistakes. But the forums, definitely, you're going to get a lot more information from players, multiple So even if you don't log into the forums, and let's say you can't even post on the forums, some of the information you can get from the forums is very resourceful. So I always tell people, man, check out the forums, get some of the other player feedback. Because in the end, these are the players that are, playing the game on public tests. They're the ones that's playing live. They're the ones testing out a lot of different things between all the different trade sets. And, there's always going to be debates, but still, it gives you a little bit more insight. I don't know why they're over at this island. I'm usually over here. I'm going over on this island, because I already know what that's going to be like. There we go. Yeah. I don't even know if they read the totem. Probably not. Ugh. Get her off me. Not much a tank can do, though. Sometimes she will just go off on her own. Actually gonna save the absorption field right now. Gonna have to weave up. Don't turn my way. Dude just got nuked. I gotta take a look at his life after this. I wonder what he's got for life. My question is, why is he in the water? Okay. Got the bubble down. Everybody in it is safe for the moment. The thing's picking him up. I'm like, why do I got aggro? All right. And there it is. All right, guys, if you have any questions or comments, post below. I will try to get to them in a timely manner. But obviously, guys, Sorcerer Healer. You know, a lot of people don't think it's viable. It's completely doable, but once again, it is. And if you want to try this build, it's a really fun build. Definitely very flexible. Don't get set on one set of gear. Like I said, I like the Necropotence because I have the Twilight Matriarch. To me, it makes sense. But you have a lot of options. Spell Power Cure, once again, it runs great because it's going to go ahead and buff your party. It's going to increase the damage. If you're deciding to utilize damage with the build, so let's say you want to run like 3 heals and you want to throw out some damage on the back bar, you can do that. And Spell Power Cure's buff will also apply to you, thus increasing your damage, also with the Necropotence. So it works out really great. A lot of flexibility. So I'm really happy with it. If you are on the PS4, please stop by and visit our community site. That's ESO Daily. Once again, we're a pretty small niche group, but a lot of people some people like to post, and you know, any feedback is welcome, whether it's positive or negative. But I do want to thank you all for watching, and once again and always, have a nice day.